Oh, they're f***ing killing me. Good evening and welcome to the fastest half hour in the cryptid world, This Week in Bigfoot, the news show that scours the internet and the Bigfoot community each and every week to bring you the people, the places, and the stories making headlines around the Bigfoot world. Then we take it and we wrap it up in a nice, neat 30-minute package for you. If it has to do with Sasquatch, Bigfoot, or the Wildman, trust me, you know it, we've got you covered. Here's what we got for this Super Bowl Sunday. The Moehau Man, ever heard of him? Well, he's not exactly as friendly as Bigfoot, and we'll dig into this centuries-old Kiwi legend. The latest trail cam pics from PA and trackways from the Tar Heel State. Mike Luci's got those in the Bigfoot Rundown. And Snowwalker Prime takes to the skies with the BFRO's Map Moneymaker and a brand new 2 Minutes With. These stories and so much more Bigfoot news you're going to want to tell your kids about us someday, so you better settle in, buckle up and pay attention, because I got to catch a flight to Vegas to watch the game. Let's do this.
911, what are you reporting?
He's walking upright like a man.
With someone or something crawling around out here.
But he went back up the mountain.
Get somebody out there.
What's going on now, sir?
That son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know. He's all black and big. He is big.
As most of you know, week after week, Mike Luci and I do our best to research and deliver segments that inform you, entertain you, and in this case, broaden your cryptid horizons. Now, most of you are familiar with the Yowie, a creature said to resemble Bigfoot, often seen in the untamed expanses of the Australian bush. But did you know that just south in New Zealand, they have their very own version of this hairy giant? We kick off this week taking a look at the Moehau Man, a terrifying creature said to roam the mountainous regions of New Zealand, especially around the area known as Coromandel. The Moehau Man is described as a cross between a gorilla and a man, standing up to 10 feet tall, covered in thick black or brown hair, and razor-sharp claws. It's incredibly strong and is said to respond aggressively to human presence, feeding mainly on New Zealand's wild pig population. Indigenous Maori people, known for their fierce warrior culture, fear the Moehau, considering it an extremely violent beast that rips its prey apart. But unlike Sasquatch or Bigfoot, of which there are hundreds and hundreds of eyewitness accounts, the Moehau Man is very, very discreet, with far less reports being filed with local law enforcement and wildlife officials over the legend's centuries-old lifespan. In the late 18th century, European settlers brought large mammals to New Zealand, upsetting the delicate balance of the island's ecosystem, leading some skeptics to suggest that the Moehau Man could somehow be an escaped primate from one of these trade ships. But this theory falls short when considering the longevity of the cryptid's legend and reports of various size hominids, not to mention sightings dating back to before controlled animal imports. And during the 1870s and 1880s, almost a century later, those settlers learned of the creature's existence, with stories circulating around gold prospectors in the Coromandel bush.
The Moehau itself is a sacred mountain. It's the highest point down there, and it's sacred to the Maoris. And they didn't like anybody climbing this mountain, okay? Because that's where the last place of the spirits used to fly away from, the top of this mountain. And they got onto this hairy man story, the Maoris did, and they warned people not to go up there. Partly because they didn't want them up there, partly trying to scare them with this hairy man story.
Another strange element to the story involves caves said to contain skeletons, possibly of different hominid species. Some locals claim to have seen skeletons of small, red-haired men, similar to the descriptions of the Orang Pendek. In a separate cave, giant skeletons over 7 feet tall align with traditional Bigfoot depictions. The possibility of different hominids arriving on the island at different times raises intriguing questions about intercontinental travel centuries ago, potentially explaining similar cryptid sightings across the Asia-Pacific region. Many residents of the island nation dismiss the notion of the Moehau Man as any type of gorilla or known ape species, leaning more towards fabricated tales to deter people from entering private property during the island's colonization.
My grandmother, she was there for 65 years and she never saw it. Never seen his footprint or never even seen where he could have been. You know, no big marks or... You know how bears make marks on trees? Well, nothing like that.
And so the question remains, could the Moehau Man be a relic of the past, similar to Bigfoot, misidentified escaped animals, or simply a product of legends woven into the fabric of New Zealand's history? It does make you wonder about the origin of this legend and others like it, though, and about the truth behind these captivating tales that have been handed down for well over a century.
Stories of Wildman have been around for thousands of years. We've covered quite a few of them on the show, as you might know. They vary in appearance. Some are simply described as giant versions of humans, while others are depicted as being more animalistic. And to that point, the latter should make us wonder how many of these documented Wildman encounters over the years could potentially be Sasquatch encounters. I gathered a ton of old newspaper clippings predating the mid-20th century, which contain some compelling stories of run-ins with wild men. While most are just crazed or feral humans, some of their descriptions and stories are eerily reminiscent of what we'd associate with Bigfoot. These particular reports come from a time when North America was way less populated, much more rural and undeveloped. So something like a Sasquatch could have easily remained hidden, whose territory wasn't susceptible to the degree of encroachment it's endured in recent years. Now, while there's several well-documented accounts of Sasquatch-like creatures hailing from all corners of North America during this time, keep in mind it would be decades before the Patterson-Gimlin film or Cripplefoot Trackway occurred, events that turned Bigfoot into a mainstream cultural icon and started making people realize the stories in their areas may in fact be the same creature. When searching for potential Squatch encounters among these Wildman reports, there are two very important details to consider: the wild man's physical traits and their actions, as both could reveal Bigfoot-like characteristics. Some of these wild men, for example, are described as having unusually long arms, hair-covered bodies, along with primate or bear-like features. Here's one story from Ohio circa 1883. Note the description. This next story came out of Arkansas in 1851. It describes a wild man with 13-inch tracks that was stalking some cattle. Many wild men reportedly possess superhuman capabilities, like carrying off cattle under one arm or unparalleled speed and agility. In several cases, armed posses searched surrounding areas for said wild men, but came up empty-handed. More often than not, these so-called wild men turned out or were believed to be fugitives, hermits, along with escaped or released mental patients. Doctors had a tenuous grasp of mental disorders back then, so people suffering from these conditions often became the throwaways of society. Many mental facilities were poorly maintained or regulated. Not only did patients escape on occasion, but in many instances, they'd literally be thrown out on the street if their institution wound up closing. Most of these wild men reportedly contained other human qualities. Many of these articles describe the wild man, for example, wearing clothes, making fires, using tools or weapons, some even talking gibberish or outright coherently. This article from 1897 is a good example. It describes a wild man partly bound in chains, brandishing a club, and speaking. Incidentally, this story happened in southern Westchester County, New York, literally right next to the town where I currently reside. Despite these explicit human characteristics, however, it's still not enough for your more outlandish believers to rule out Bigfoot. They might argue that any human qualities were added as, quote, filler details, or that Squatches could even possess some of these human capabilities after all.
Hi-hat, most of the descriptions for hi-hat make it sound like a Bigfoot with a shave, you know, like wearing one of those beards with no mustache, and a hat. The hat is due to Hi-Hat's penchant for decking himself in the body parts and the clothing of people he's killed and eaten. I've speculated in print at least once.
One example it's worth noting is a theory I've seen that some Squatches wear pelts or skins of animals and humans they killed. You see this quality in stories like that of Hi-Hat in Allegheny State Park in Western New York. So yeah, what do you think? Are some of these wild men actually Squatches or just exaggerated accounts of run-ins with feral or insane humans? These stories had happened at a time when yellow journalism was prevalent and news stories were susceptible to embellishment or outright fabrication. But if not, then perhaps we've been unwittingly documenting Bigfoot encounters long before the proverbial term was even coined.
2024 has kicked off with a flurry of excitement for alien and UFO fans worldwide. From shadow aliens in Brazil to 10-foot-tall creatures outside of Miami Mall, social media is flooded with UFO, UAP videos. A few weeks ago, we brought you a story of the Jellyfish UAP, a strange object filmed and documented by U.S. forces in 2017. And I thought it was about time we brought you up to speed on what we know now about this very strange event. On January 10th, investigative journalists Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp released 2017 footage of a military drone tracking a UAP at a U.S. Joint Operations Base in Iraq. The advanced drone, capable of detecting a car tire from well over 27 miles, struggled to lock onto the UAP. The strange object, now dubbed the Jellyfish for obvious reasons, displayed remarkable capabilities, swiftly alternating between hot and cold to evade thermal vision. Deliberate modifications suggesting sentient control, indicating awareness of surveillance. After flying over the base, the UAP headed out to sea. Here's that event now, the second half of the video just released, seen here on This Week in Bigfoot for the very first time. The object then submerged for 17 minutes before abruptly shooting out of the water at a 45-degree angle, leaving those who witnessed the object in awe by its hanging arms and what they say were scales. Scales, folks. Surprisingly enough, a similar creature or object was reported in West Hollywood in May of 2023, adding an eerie dimension to this very strange narrative. The U.S. Department of Defense responded cautiously, stating that they do not comment on leaked DoD material. Surprise, surprise. But, as a side note, they've done this before with Corbell's videos, only to eventually come out, confirming their authenticity. And if that's not enough, Marine veteran Michael Sinkowski did step forward after seeing the video online to validate the event, lending credibility and a human element to this extraordinary account.
But I was kind of forced to take a position, and I didn't want to, and that was kind of illustrated. And I'm trying to, make it known that I don't have the authority or the information to tell anybody that, what this thing really is. All I know is I've seen a longer form video of this thing, and we had our theories, but there was never enough information to fully explain it.
And so I ask you, our viewers, what are we looking at here? The latest in military spyware, helium balloons, or the real deal? And it's true, while this story does not directly deal with the Bigfoot subject, it does raise some intriguing parallels. The strange occurrences and advanced technology involved in this sighting mirrors some aspects of the paranormal side to the Bigfoot story. So, until a body is actually pulled from the forest of a flesh and blood creature, all bets are off. So whether you believe in UFOs, aliens, or Bigfoot, the strange events of 2024 underscore the need to keep an open mind, reminding us all that the universe still holds some uncharted territories and strange mysteries. Be sure to visit the community page on our YouTube channel to take the survey to let us know what you think this object is.
Tonight's episode is sponsored by Larix.
We here at This Week in Bigfoot are always on the lookout for new and better ways to bring you the world of Bigfoot within the time limit we've purposely imposed on ourselves in order to not, I repeat not, waste your precious time. That being said, we here at the show are pleased to introduce our newest member of the broadcast team, investigative filmmaker Eric Palacios. Eric joined the Catskill Appalachian Research Collective Facebook group not too long ago and quickly established himself as a strong contributor by sharing his research into a 911 call centered around a Bigfoot sighting. Palacios submitted a FOIA request, eventually receiving back call and transcript. Check it out.
Spotted something that might look like Bigfoot on the game camera. And I was wanting to talk to one of the deputies, or you might know if somebody reported anything like that in the Samuel Murphy area, which is towards the Cognac area.
Now, while the call is interesting, I don't know about you, but I would like to see the photo for myself and know more about the man who made the phone call. Here's Eric with what he's found.
So I heard about this phone call from the Harrison County Sheriff's Office that took place the morning of September 10th, 2023. Apparently, the caller had called in stating that he thinks he might have captured Bigfoot on one of his game cameras. And when I first heard about this, I really didn't think too much of it until I started doing the research. And to my surprise, I was actually able to find an incident report number from the Harrison County Sheriff's Office. And with that incident report number, I was able to construct a detailed Freedom of Information Act request, and I sent that to the Harrison County Sheriff's Office. Within a few days, I started getting emails back from the Harrison County Sheriff's Office, not only containing the phone call, but also a copy of the unredacted police report that contained the witness's identity and their phone number. So with that, I went ahead and reached out to them. Not only that, but they also sent me a copy of the alleged photo that was taken on the witness's game camera. So if you guys are interested in hearing what the witness has to say, or if you'd like to see the actual photo, I'm going to be dropping a video on my channel here next week showing my findings. On a side note, I'd like to thank Brendon and the guys at This Week in Bigfoot for inviting me to be a part of this amazing production. I look forward to working closely with them and sharing my findings with all you guys. See you soon.
We'll have more from Eric on this story soon and others like it. And in the coming weeks, he'll investigate everything from Bigfoot eyewitness accounts, unsolved disappearances, and other strange going-ons all around North America. And you'll only see him here on This Week in Bigfoot. It is true you cannot keep a good man down. If you caught last week's episode, then you know that Snowwalker Prime officially announced his upcoming retirement from what he calls the Bigfoot Circus. And to be honest, with all the bullshit that he constantly puts up with, I cannot say I blame him. So, we do not know when he'll send us his very last rant on his very last trip down that long dirt road with the pups. But until that day comes, here he is again doing what he does best. Love him or hate him, at least he's telling the truth, which is more than I could say for a lot of folks out there. This is 2 Minutes With.
Echo Station 3PA. Spotted a serial walker. Echo Station 3PA. We have spotted a serial walker. Serial walkers on the North Bridge.
Don't you find it kind of odd we keep meeting on this lonely road in the middle of Maine? Well, I hadn't really given it much thought. Shouldn't you be at home installing that overhead microwave oven and removing the broken one like your wife asked you? That seems awfully specific. I'm just saying, you can't do this Bigfoot thing forever. Hold on a second. Michael! Get your butt home! What's that? Are you hearing that? I need some help! I need you to install the microwave oven!
I will have some meatloaf. Let's have some meatloaf. You want some? Yes! I need Hey, Mom! The meatloaf!
That's nothing. Just keep moving along. Speed walking's very healthy for you.
I manage the entire teacher appreciation night, and I'm supposed to accept second vice president?
They are disrespecting you, Donna. They are disrespecting you.
Almost seems like you're trying to avoid things at home. Again, that seems awfully specific. Honestly, man, this Bigfoot thing, short term. You're not going to see me on this road forever. I have breaking news. You are going to be so happy you showed up today. Oh, I'm just tingling all over. Matt Moneymaker is going to go look for Bigfoot with drones.
Sure what's happening here, but it does sound really interesting.
Drones! OMG, it's not like anybody else has done that before. Yeah, but it's Matt Moneymaker. Nobody's done it like Matt. It's going to be a TV show. They're going to fly all these drones up, and they're going to find Bigfoot. You remember that other show he was on? Oh yeah, Finding Bigfoot. Did they find Bigfoot? Well, not exactly. What makes you think he's gonna find it this time? Because he has drones and AI. Oh well, if he has AI, exactly what I'm saying. How can he go wrong? No, he has a long track record of, well, no, he doesn't have a long track record of finding Bigfoot, does he?
It's moving. It walked off on 2 legs, dude. I gotta go straight ahead.
All right, I'm flanking to the right.
Okay.
I knew I could count on you to be cynical. I'm not being cynical. I'm being reasonable. You say tomato, I say tomato. Michael, get your butt home. Do you hear that? I'm pretty sure I'm hearing. No, that's nothing. Nothing. Continue speed walking, good sir.
Dude, it's a Squatch. I'm getting it. I'm getting the footage.
Still there. Maybe you should take a break from this Bigfoot stuff and, maybe do some chores around the house. Again, very specific and off topic. It's on topic if you were doing stuff around the house. Look, this Bigfoot stuff is very important. Don't you think maybe your time would be better served? My time?
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine?
Don't be ridiculous! This is how my time is best served. Talking about Bigfoot. Exposing the truth!
You can't handle the truth! Son, we live in a world that has walls, and those walls have to be guarded by men with guns. Who's gonna do it? You?
Exactly! I am glad we're on the same page finally.
It's a neighborly day in this beauty wood, a neighborly day for beauty. Would you be mine? Could you be mine?
Wild Bigfoot by Larix, the official hat of This Week in Bigfoot, sponsored by Larix.
Once again, here's Mike Luci with the Bigfoot Rundown.
All right, welcome to the Bigfoot Rundown. We're making stops in Oregon, California, India, possibly Pennsylvania this week, so let's get rolling. These photos came from an article that was recently posted on the Bigfoot subreddit. It came from a publication called Zalin.in and was published on January 29th. I couldn't copy and paste any text, and what little I could translate said the skull was allegedly found in Mizoram, India. But as you can see, looks can be deceiving. Now, I'm no bone expert, but based on this comparison with a human's lower jawbone, this pretty much looks like a close match. While the article claims the skull was allegedly found in October, however, the timestamps in these photos say they were taken back in June. Hard to say how old these remains are, but they're clearly not the size those original photos made them out to be, so that's good to know in case these images resurface anywhere else in the future. Could this be the first ever footage recording a Bigfoot climbing a tree? Check it out.
And here's the zoomed and stabilized. I don't know what it is. It's very Bigfooty. It's out of the ordinary, unusual. If that's a person, it's a dang wide person. That's like a football player-sized person with all their pads and everything on and hoist themselves up into a tree.
I first found this video on Instagram via the Bigfoot Tusk account. Bigfoot Tusk credits this video to the TikTok account ihome_creepy. The only TikTok account I could find with that name, however, mainly posted SCP videos, which for context means Secure, Contain, Protect. I couldn't find the original footage on their profile, but admittedly didn't watch every single video from beginning to end. So it's possible this could come from an SCP story, which, as we clarified in a recent episode, is completely fictional. I messaged Bigfoot Tusk for more information, however, as of recording the segment, I've yet to receive a response. Assuming that isn't the case though, whatever is in this video looks pretty big and could be standing upright. Unfortunately, we don't know exactly where this was taken location-wise, but I think we have a pretty narrow selection of potential culprits. I mean, Besides a human or a squatch, what other mammals with bipedal capabilities that size could even climb trees? It's the middle of winter, meaning we're seeing a lot of alleged snowy footprints making rounds. I found this video of one particularly interesting trackway that was discovered in Northern California.
Okay, here we go. I knew how to do. I know. And you can see the toe prints, the top of the prints.
This footage was posted by C. Wayne Tothrow, co-host of the Paranormal Odyssey podcast. The two researchers who discovered these prints were guests on their February 3rd episode. They reported finding these prints at one of their research sites in April 2023. Turns out this particular spot happened to be about 10 miles as the crow flies from the Patterson-Gimlin film site. They believe these prints came from a smaller or juvenile Sasquatch. This is one of the more well-documented alleged trackways we've covered, but what do you think made these prints? Was it a squatch, human, bear, or could it have been a hoax? Before making your final judgment, though, make sure to check out the full Paranormal Odyssey episode. We'll leave a link in the video's description. So this photo was brought to my attention by our very own Brendon Brown. He shared this picture in our CARC Facebook group on January 31st. It was first posted by Thomas Markham, founder of the Crypto Crew website and database. This photo recently made the Crypto Crew's weekly top. It was originally published in 2019 and was allegedly taken somewhere in Pennsylvania. It appears to show a large figure peeking into the trail camera. Mr. Markham notes how the timestamp and metadata are missing and ponders if the image might come from a movie. Markham enhanced the photos in an attempt to bring out more details. Here's what they look like. This post was subsequently picked up by NVTV in 2020, who added some additional alleged details. So let us know what you think this photo shows. Squatch, human, is it something else, or just BS? Share your thoughts in the comments. I think this might be another first for us. Do these pictures show a Bigfoot kill? Some of these images are pretty graphic, so before I show them, viewer discretion is advised. They were posted on January 21st. The Facebook user says he took them about a quarter mile from somewhere called Evergreen Lodge. While nothing is explicitly stated, it sounds like this happened at Yosemite National Park in Central California. Although the Facebook user who posted them says it was a black bear, many people in the comments believed a Squatch was to blame. Perhaps these particular pictures reveal the most about our culprit. As you can see, the deer's innards were removed and presumably consumed, which are telltale signs of a cougar or bear kill. And given the shape of those prints, it looks more like the latter. But maybe you disagree? If so, tell us why in the comments. And we're wrapping things up with some potential howls coming out of Oregon. Let's take a listen. These were posted on Facebook earlier last week. The Facebook user allegedly recorded this audio on their cell phone around 3 a.m. last year in southern Oregon. The Facebook user clarifies this audio you're hearing is an amplified version. He also includes images of the area where they were captured. The Facebook user claims he heard and recorded howls like this not once, but twice in 2023, and that others also heard the same strange vocals. So we'll go ahead and play them for you one more time. And as always, we'd like to know what you think. What could have made these strange howls? A Bigfoot, another animal, or something totally different? Share your thoughts in the comments. And with that said, that wraps up this week's Bigfoot Rundown. As always, thanks for watching. We'll be back at it again next week.
The Bigfoot Rundown. You'll want to tune in next week for a very special Legend Meets Science 2 update when Doug Hychek and Bigfoot audio expert David Ellis from the Olympic Project stop by to discuss what might just be the next big thing in Bigfoot research.
Sounds associated with Bigfoot have been with us for a while, mainly wood knocking, those kinds of things, and maybe some drumming. But what we're about to talk about may be nothing but a bunch of coincidences, or it may be the next big thing. And this may someday be also used as an offensive to attract encounters. This kind of started back when Tristan Yolton had some recordings that him and his mother were noticing, activity in a certain area. They had put some kind of food that was wrapped in plastic. I think it was some peanut butter crackers. And they recorded a creature tearing open these packages and then eating them. But while it was doing it, there was this weird kind of hummingbird hum.
That's next Sunday night, back at our regular time, only on CARC Universal. You better be there.
Hey, this is Chuck Larson. You're watching the CARC channel on YouTube.
Here's Chuck Larson with this week's top 3 Bigfoot podcasts and live streams.
Evening, everybody. It's Chuck Larson again with my top 3 podcasts and live streams for the week of February 5th, 2024. At number 3 this week, it's the podcast Where the Weird Ones Are, episode 90, Battlefield Road with Jess Mora. I chose this podcast because it's a fantastic interview. Listen as host Kevin talks to Jessica about her encounters in the Shenandoah National Park and Battlefield Road in Virginia. Did Jess drive through a porthole?
But as we got closer, you could see, it looked like there was a million tiny silver bugs, like with wings or something inside, like just completely. That's what this bubble was full of, is what it looked like, these tiny little silver bugs. So odd. And it was just like kind of waving like that in the breeze, I guess, just hovering right above the road. So I'm thinking, all right, if this is a chemical of some sort, it's going to get on my arm and it's going to come inside, it's going to come through the window. Yeah. And I don't know if anything's going to happen. But it's obviously a liquid. So I'm going to have to feel something, because it's going to hit my arm. It's going to hit my arm and my, the windshield. We go through it and I felt nothing. I heard nothing, smelt nothing, tasted nothing, just nothing. It was nothing.
Coming in at number 2, it's Untold Radio AM on the Untold Radio Network, episode 178. Bigfoot's visiting my home for years.
And when our boys lived here, Jim would lose his tools then, and he'd blame the boys for losing his tools. Well, We don't know. It could have been Bigfoot's coming and taking them too at that point.
Right. But then these things would like come back like months later. Sometimes.
Yeah. You like most of the time, if they took something, they would bring it back. But like that hammer that we were talking about, with the blue handle, that's gone.
Yeah.
That's never come back.
Oh, and how long is okay. But see, if they're gonna not bring something back, I would think in my mind might be blue.
And topping us off this week at number 1, it's the World Bigfoot Radio on World Bigfoot Central. Bigfoot Sightings in the Rockies 2023. Kelly Shaw, RMSO. Here, host Duke and Kelly Shaw start out talking about a Bigfoot caught on camera doing a tree knock in Montana. And then they break down and talk about other sightings and experiences in the Rocky Mountains during 2023. Take a listen.
Talking to an expert, I'm not going to say his name, but he's a PhD. I cornered him at a Bigfoot conference because he had my hair for a year and wouldn't respond about it or anything, just ignored me. So at a Bigfoot conference, I cornered him. He's like, what's going on with that hair, blah, 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 blah. And then he started telling me about the medulla, and he believes that the credible Bigfoot hair that he's collected has little to no medulla. My hair matches that we collected, little to no medulla. And that's the challenge of getting DNA out of it. You destroy the hair to get at it. And if this professor is correct in the assumption that it has little to no medulla, that means it's very hard to extract DNA, because that's where the protein is that you're going to get the DNA.
All right, folks, it pains me once again to tell you that we are all out of time for this week's episode. I'd like to thank you for watching, but before I go, I want to remind you to like and share everything we do here at the Catskill Appalachian Research Collective. You got to tell your friends. And if you have any questions or comments, or maybe a story you'd like to see covered on the show, you can always drop us a line at thisweekinbigfootnewscast@gmail.com. So, until next week, for Mike Luci, Chuck Larson, and Snowwalker Prime, I'm Brendon Brown, reminding you that when it comes to getting your Bigfoot news, be informed, not biased, be good, take care. We'll see you next week.